you always think you're right, you're never going to grow.
Ever.
You're never going to grow because you have to have room to grow. And if you're not given room to grow, it ain't going to happen.
Welcome to Falling Forward again with the Ross sisters. We are back again with Miss Deidre Gordon, with Sis over here as well. And we want to bring Deidre back this time because we felt like humility is a good tie-in to asking and looking and needing help. Is where's your humility factor at? Like, where you really at? Are you at this point that you feel like somebody is obligated, has to help you? You don't, or are you at this point that you're coming to people with like open arms and just basically saying, hey, I am struggling here. I need somebody to put something in my toolkit, in my basket, so I can get things moving forward. So what y'all take on the integration of help with humility?
My take is, I think a lot of people, when they think of help, they think of this big grand gesture, and then they have to, like you said, move forward and grow and all these things. Sometimes I think help is, I just don't want to sink. I may not be ready to grow, but I just don't want to sink right now. So can I just stay afloat a little bit and then work on growing in baby steps?
I absolutely love that, honestly, because some people, like, you're right. I'm not ready to move forward. I'm not ready to be move from a kid to a teen to an adult. But I need you to help me. So at least put on a life jacket for me. But at times, going back to what Carmen said during the last episode, us giving that life jacket, we're enabling because you already have the skills. You just choose not to utilize them for whatever reason.
Well, but some people don't have the skills because they wasn't taught that. I'm not saying that you can't learn the skills, but if you learn through your life experience that you go off on somebody every time something like X thing happen, then when you are older and stuff, you still can be trapped in that unless you have a way to work it out.
Well, and that's even going back to the ideal of seeking counseling, seeking good, wise advice. But because I agree with you, some people don't have the skill. But I will say, in the situation in which we speak currently, the fools that I talk to, I know who raised you. You got the skill. You just choose not to take that step out. You want to stay under the umbrella instead of getting your butt in the rain. And the rain is 100% important for the growth in all of our lives.
Because we all have to have a season of rain to grow. And that's the whole thing of falling forward. We all have to go through the pain. We have to feel the stress. So then at the end, you can see how great and sweet that your accomplishment was. And I think Christine talked about this. You're not going to think, if you're not going to get too much growth from everything good happening to you.
Right.
You got to get down and dirty. That's how you grow. And it sucks too, because some situations you hear, like, somebody losing their child, there's a lot of stuff that, like, this is something hard burden to carry. This is really hard. But if you change your perspective on things, because you got to, in situations like that, there's no way that you're going to pull out yourself without changing the perspective on how you're thinking the situation is.
I think in some pieces too, that even ties to the ideal of, do you know who you are? So when we even talk about, or even go down to any level of saying we can walk in humility, not until you can identify who you are as a person do you even have that ability. Because humility has to do with not only knowing what you do well at, but knowing what's not your cup of tea, what is not your strength. And in those, we don't sit there and just say, well, it ain't my cup of tea, so I'm not going to push forward. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to always pull from you guys. It is, I'm pulling from you guys based on knowing how you may have reacted in this situation, because I look up to you. knowing how you may have spoken with such and such person, because I appreciate how you dealt with XYZ situation. It's not just about I'm just gonna take.
Right.
It is about being uplifted by the people around you, because being imparted wisdom on yourself,
Yes.
and you taking that wisdom, that's an act of humility.
And that's what I was going to say. Being able to listen to wise counsel is important. And also knowing that in order to get to the next step in any aspect of life, you do have to go through adversity. Your adversity can be from A to Z, or it can be A, B, F, H, K, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm more of a, if I can do it from A to Z, just show me that one path. But I know that life doesn't work that way.
Right, it doesn't.
And I think that facing diversity, or adversity, I should say rather, is one of the most important things of life. When we talk about even raising kids, I have known so many people that, oh my goodness, he fell. As soon as that child falls, you over here hovering on them. Like when my nephew is little, he fell, and I looked at him to see what he did.
You
Like,
all right?
yeah, you're all right. Like, some stuff I know possibly should hurt, but unless you acknowledge it to me, that it hurts by crying, coming to me, whatever, I am not going to foster an enabling spirit just because you want somebody to hug you. Now, if you just want a hug at that point, you can come get a hug. But I'm not going to do it just because I feel like it should have hurt you, which means I'm going to be your covering. When sometimes you step back, that child fell, they did hurt themselves, but they dusted off those knees and they kept it pushing. So what are you doing? If they're keeping it pushing, you're actually holding them back. You're being their hindrance so that they can stop their process of growth.
And I've seen people like freak out when their kid, like literally freak out and scare the kid. Then the kid is having a problem because the mom or dad scared them because they fell when they were okay.
And they're feeding off that energy.
Exactly.
So they're going to want that all the time.
Yeah.
Every time they fall, they're going to want all that attention. Because you got to realize when you whatever you're teaching your kids, it can stick with them.
Absolutely.
Because these parents be having in their head, oh, they were crying because they fell. No, they cried because when they fell, you were, oh my goodness, and that freaks anybody out.
Right,
like you doing too much.
Right.
Yes.
So, but I think it's learning how to pull away from that. How to watch stuff happen, learning to watch people grow. And that's even from being a parent. When they're in elementary school, you're going to treat them different than when they're in middle school. Then when they get to high school, you should be treating them way different. It should not be 20,050,000 skills that you teach a senior in a high school. Because guess what? You got less than a year to get your child on point. You got to do that little by little as they grow, as they develop the skill and the consistency. Because they going to grow up, they going to be out your house whether you like it or not. And I used to tell parents all the time, well, you over there still cooking for them and doing this, that, and the other. Are you preparing them to live in your house or outside of your house? But I don't know about y'all, but I don't got room in my house for too many adults with too many opinions who ain't paying no bills.
Okay.
But that's for another episode. But again, walking in humility though, and asking for help. When we're walking in humility, going to a counselor, it's like, why does that make me crazy? Because I asked for help.
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Yeah. Because sometimes asking for help is looked down upon.
Right.
Especially with those people that feel that they're better than, So sometimes that can be hard, and it's just you got to choose who you asking for, because not everybody God is put in your path so they can help you. Not everybody's like that. There's certain people that God put in your path to help you.
Yeah, and trust is a big factor with that. As far as not just humility, but even asking for help. Like, you have to have that trust and faith. And I'll give you an example. When we were on the lake, I'm the type of person, I'm an overthinker, and I have to mentally prepare for situations. I was not mentally prepared to get in that water. I was not mentally prepared to get on that float. And you guys, because I trust you, y'all talked me into it. And I was fine in the water until somebody told me it was 300 and something feet. And then I was like, I'm getting back on the boat.
I'm good.
But normally, because I wasn't prepared in what we were doing that day, I would have just sat there because I'm like, nope, we didn't have the conversation with ourselves. We are not good.
And you're right about that, because I have a hard time with changes. So before my day starts, I need to know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And if one thing changes out my day, my whole day is ruined for some reason. I'm like, it threw me off so much because I was expecting this one thing, and I just got to let it go of control.
Yes.
Because when you're asking for help, you don't have control over how they're going to help you.
You also don't have control of the outcome.
Yep. You don't.
But realistically, you never did have control over the outcome.
You just thought you did.
Like I tell people all the time, like when you got in that wreck that one day, you did not get into your car and said, you know what? Somebody gonna T-bone me today.
Right.
And that is the Lord saying, guess what you think you know? You don't know it. You don't know it. But I'm on the other extreme to you guys, from you guys. Like, and I am a planful person. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I do the same thing every day. Well, when I say every day, like, you know, my nighttime routine has been the same for many years. I take my shower, I get my clothes ready, I get, prepared for my next day, is how I do it. But as changes happen, I'm like, huh? But that doesn't mean I'm never in that situation that I'm like, Lord, let me tell you how to do your job.
And then you realize that you don't know how to be. You're trying to make things happen on your own when you should have just let go and let God.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I like how you said, when you're asking for help, you have no control, and you have is faith in that person that they're going to help you. And the thing is, we really don't have control of anything else but ourselves. We can't control situations. We probably can manipulate some of them, which is not always good. Yeah. But we only control what we can do. I can't make Johnny do something and Betty say something and then get mad at him. No, I can't do that. So, you just gotta trust in yourself.
Yes.
Well, trusting yourself in who you actually are. Not the person that you pretend to be on the weekends where you at work or whatever. The person that you actually are. I know me as a person, I lose stuff like they supposed to be lost. Like right now, I'm looking for this pod extender from my Wi-Fi that's in my house that was plugged into the wall. Where it went, who unplugged it, nobody knows. But currently it is gone. Hopefully by next episode it will be recovered. But I say all this because I know I'm a person that loses things regularly. I like to keep my house clean. Now, it ain't as clean right now as I want it to be, but that's what happens when I have people out of town guests and stuff. It's a little more chaos, which it's not a big deal. But because when I lose stuff, I can't be looking for my crap among crap.
Right.
Like, I need to have all this stuff. I need to have the order in there to keep myself sane. When I come from vacation, I want my house clean. I'm one of those people, especially if I go to St. Louis, see moms and sis. I wash my clothes before I leave, fold them. But once I get home, I take those folded piles, put it in the drawers, and put my bag up, and your girl's done. That's the kind of order that I need for my life, as in the structure. But it don't always happen that way. Right. But I also have to walk in the humility because of that, because it's like, well, everything can't be my way. It's not always going to work out how I want it to be working out, and I have to accept that. But I think some of us, as we grow, we still get to the point that we want to know ourselves as who we want ourselves to be, our idealized self, as opposed to who we actually are. And that plays a role of asking for help because you see yourself in an authentic way. And a lot of us, even us at the table right now, there are some places in which we see ourselves in an authentic way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, we get a little delusional on some of our characteristics, and we're all guilty of that, and because sometimes we don't want to admit to ourselves that, hey, we have that problem.
Yep.
We need help, you know. And it's important when you're asking for help. It's never too late to ask for help, but the situation can just grow if you don't ask for help when you should have asked for help. You don't want it to grow into a situation that's out of control, and now it's taking more resources, more money, more effort, more, you know, hurts to get through. You know, you want to be able to ask for help when you need it. But, you know, and from a person that helps, because I used to give, and sacrifice myself to help people and help them eat and put food on their kids' plates. I had to come to my terms with myself and said, I've been doing this for years. Like we spoke about earlier. I've been doing the same thing with this family for years. I can't do this no more because now they relying on me for my help. And that's the problem. You rely on people for your help at that moment, but you don't continuously rely on that same person for help because you're taking advantage of them, because eventually you have to make a move.
And that's even parents with kids too.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead, Deidre.
No, that's what I was going to say. I equate that with parenting. I see a lot of parents and they're like, oh, my kid is leaving. And I'm like, isn't that what you raised them to do? I don't know. Maybe some people raise their kids to stay at home. I raised mine to go forth and be great.
Exactly.
Over there.
Go walk in your greatness in your own house.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I think to that point, it is a mindset. And there should be never a point in our lives in which we are not seeking growth for ourselves. And not even, and added to that, not asking people where are other points that we could grow. And this is not based on where they think we can grow. It is based on them knowing us and knowing how these changes might benefit their lives. And it's not us shaping somebody else in our own image.
And accountability plays a part in that too. And I know we just discussed before in some prior episodes that you got to humble yourself to have accountability. Because I'm hard-headed. I got something in my mind and I see things the way I want to see them.
No way.
Yeah. So I didn't need that, but okay. So I need to be open to something different, because when I'm realizing that I'm consistently doing something and nothing has changed, something different has to occur. So I need to be able to humble myself in knowing what my reach is. I only can reach so far. If you're tall, you got those long baseball reaches.
Right.
You know, I don't have that sometimes. In situations, sometimes you just got this little nub. So, you know, you got to just figure out what you're going to do to make this situation change. And you can't go to other people to change your situation unless you want your situation to change too. So it can't be just a one-sided thing. I'm going to help you, but you're not trying to get help and really doing something authentic with it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Carmen. And just so you know, game recognized game. I'm hard-headed too. That's why I said that. And I know for me, I don't ever want to be like, well, I'm wrong. Because in my brain, what I said was right. I know I'm right. I know I'm right. But, of course, I'm not. And so when people bring that to my attention, sometimes it is hard for me to hear. And I need to take that time to kind of reflect. I'll get to it. It may not be right away. Give me 45 minutes, sometimes a day or two. But I do get to it. But it does take a lot of humility. And I have to look at myself like, okay, you're being prideful and you're being ridiculous because nobody's ever always right. So stop it. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's also being in that place that we're like, you know what? I can speak life or speak truth to you because I've been there, done that, got the freaking postcard. So in that way too, me imparting any wisdom or knowledge doesn't come from me just being being smart. Has nothing to do with me having a PhD, because I know plenty of dumb PhDs. And so half the time I'm that one. but with that being said, it's taking that step and saying, you know what? I had to be up under somebody to have this knowledge that I have. And now it is my turn, my privilege, to be able to impart that wisdom, that truth onto someone else, and not in a way like, dude, how you don't know this?
Right.
But dude, I got you because I had to learn the same thing.
Yep.
And I fell 7 times, and I don't need you to fall 7 times.
Right. But some
Exactly.
people have to fall that 7 times.
Yes.
And, you know, and I've been in situations in my life that I had to fall. There were a lot of people around me, especially my family, giving me good advice. But I wanted to do my own thing because I thought I was right. And the thing is, if you always think you're right, you're never going to grow.
Ever.
You're never going to grow.
never.
Because you have to have room to grow. And if you're not given room to grow, it ain't going to happen.
Yep.
Yep. Well, and I think even bouncing off what you're saying is some people come from this place that they want to be right, and anytime somebody else tries to impart that knowledge, they think of a reason why I shouldn't have to listen to you. Well, you was a drug addict. You didn't even graduate college.
Your marriage fell apart.
Yeah, your marriage fell apart. Well, why you think I'm so wise?
Right. Right.
Because all of this did happen to me. And though you want to put it on me like a scarlet letter, I'm a bad bitch now. What we talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we have to come up from that place of encouragement and really truly look at where we came from and never forget that, because once we lose that humility, we lose that accountability.
Right.
And once you lose that accountability, you will surely fail.
Yep.
And it don't take nobody to destroy you. I ain't gotta say one word to you. I ain't gotta touch you. Don't even have to look at you.
You're gonna
You're
destroy
gonna
yourself.
fall down yourself.
Absolutely. And you become a right fighter. And you're just fighting to be right and not working on relationship, not just with other people, but with yourself.
You got to come
Yeah.
to real life.
You really do have to come to real life with that. You really have to look at what does life look like? What does growth look like? I think I may have said this before, but probably not. If a child, when they were first learning to walk, looked down and said, well, Lord, you know that's gonna fall.
Right.
That first time they fall, they surely ain't finna get back up and do it again.
Right.
We all walk now because we got up, we fell, we got up, we fell again. Somebody let us hold their fingers. We walked a little bit, and then we still fell.
I still fall these
Yeah.
days.
Exactly.
I'm clumsy as hell.
But it's just like looking at that process of change. There's always a crisis before it changes, and anytime you expect something different, you already lying to yourself, so you gonna fail.
Yep.
And you're gonna fail even harder because you don't realize that the fail was necessary for your growth.
Exactly. And it's not always the fall, it's how you respond to the fall.
Yep.
And your perception of the fall. Because I think I spoke earlier, I just try to think, what is the good out of this situation? Because that takes the feeling of the bad away. Like, you know, we had a friend they're having a horrible time right now. They're struggling. But things are happening, and God is just showing himself in every situation. He's using these horrible, bad things, and he's using it to produce good.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even recognize it until we truly take a time to sit back. And this comes where it comes in meditation and prayer, is really honing in. Really open your eyes to say, I need to settle enough to know where is it that I actually came from.
Yep. And what's the lesson in this? Even through in the midst of the bad, what's the lesson to learn?
Well, guys, thank you for being here. We're at episode. Thank you again, Deidre. We definitely appreciate you. We had a
Thank you.
blast.
Yes.
So you're going to have to come back again. And then I'm proposing one day we have our mom on here.
Yeah.
We'll have to have Miss Carol.
Miss Carol
here.
Diane.
So she's our mom, of course, and we love her to death, but she cracks me up every time.
Bless her heart. Love
Okay.
you, Mama.
Thank you, guys. Have a blessed day.
Thanks.